I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this session. My name is Jason Onesto, and I'm the Assistant Director of New Student Programs here at the University of Richmond. As part of my role, I collaborate with humans from other offices to organize this new Spider Summer Series and to help connect incoming students with additional information. Today, I am joined by representatives of the Office of International Education. I'll let them introduce themselves here in just a second. But if you will see, just really quickly before we get things started formally, there are little icons at the bottom of your screen. There will be a time reserved at the end of the webinar to ask questions directly to our panelists. But if you have anything that comes up while they're distributing their information to you all, if you wouldn't mind using that Q&A function at the bottom to type that question in there, and then we will get that question answered as soon as we are able to. Um, with that said, I'm going to pass some things off to Krittika Onsanit.
Well, hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever your day or night looks like in your time zone. I'm Krittika Onsanit. I'm the Director of International Student and Scholar Services and International Education, and want to congratulate you on your acceptance to Richmond. In our office, the international student team organizes the international orientation, which some of you will be participating in, along with New Spider orientation. And so we'll talk a little bit about the international orientation, some of our programs and services, and some sort of more technical information about coming to the US on a student visa. And so I'll turn it over to Diana, my colleague Diana, to introduce herself. And then we do have a PowerPoint presentation that we'll use as reference.
Hi, everyone. My name is Diana Trinh. I'm the International Student Advisor here in the International Education Office. My responsibility is to advise and support exchange students and visiting students who are here for a semester or a year, but I'm also here as an advisor to support you all as well. I just want to quickly welcome you guys to the Spider family, and I look forward to meeting you in August.
All right. So just to give you an idea of who we are, we're a team of three. So it's myself and Diana, and we have a position, International Education Fellow for International Student Engagement. So this is usually a recent university graduate who's in a student-facing position specifically to support international student engagement on campus and in the community, and also referrals to programs and resources to help in your cultural and personal adjustment. Right now, this position is being held by Eden Kim, whose family is from South Korea. Sadly, she will be leaving us at the end of the month, as this is a term limited position, but of course we will look into filling her position with another recent graduate for next year. I basically oversee the entire operations of the international student team. So I'm the lead immigration advisor, and we work with the study abroad team and also the events team on issues related to international students. And so there's three of us. And in terms of our the numbers of international students on campus, for several years we've had over 80 countries represented. And then so we have a combination of students. The majority are going to be like yourselves, those 4-year degree-seeking students who are here for a bachelor's degree. But we also have exchange students. So these are students who come from our partner institutions for 1 or 2 semesters. And then we do have a smaller number of law and graduate international students. So for the undergraduate students make up about 11% of our total undergraduate population. Okay, so we want to talk about coming to the US because there's a lot of logistics what's involved for student visa holders. And I know this is very detailed information, and you're probably not going to remember it all. So we will email you the presentation after today. And we've also included links to a lot of Department of State websites, which are going to be very useful for you. And so a visa, as you may know, is a travel document, and it only needs to be valid when you're entering the US from abroad. So you would only present that visa stamp in your passport if you need one, and not everyone needs one. I'll get into that in a second. You would only need to present it when you are physically entering the US from outside the US. So if you have never physically studied in the US before, you will need this F1 visa stamp in your passport unless you're coming in another status that permits full-time study. But probably the majority of you will be coming on an F1 student visa. Now, some of you may have attended high school in the US as an international student. And so if that is the case, you attended high school on an F1 student visa, if that F1 visa stamp from your high school is still valid, you can use it to enter the US along with the I-20 from Richmond. So you're not going to use the I-20 from your high school, right? Because you're not going back to high school, you're coming to Richmond. So you can enter using those two things: Richmond I-20, valid F1 visa stamp from your high school. Now, if you are a citizen of Canada or Bermuda, lucky for you, you don't need that F1 visa stamp. So you don't need to bother with going to the US consulate or embassy in your country and applying for the visa stamp. But you're still going to need that I-20 from Richmond. And if you have any questions about the student visa application process, we've provided the link below. Okay, so if you are in the position where you need to apply for that student visa, which most of you probably are, you're going to need to do that in your home country, probably. If you're not in your home country, it may be possible to apply from a third country if you're physically present in that country. But you will have to check with the US consulate or embassy in that third country to see if they are taking F1 student visa applications for your citizenship. We provided a link, usembassy.gov, so that has a list of all of the US embassies or consulates. So, the requirements are very specific to the US embassy or consulate in whichever country in which you're applying. So you really do need to check the requirements for those consulates or embassies. There is a resource where you can check on visa wait times. So that link, the last link that we have on the slide, you can go to that page and see when is the next available visa appointment in the country in which you're applying. Okay, so in terms of what you need to enter the US, please be aware that if you are coming to the US for the very first time in what we call initial status, so that would be students who have never held an I-20 in the US before, and you're coming for the first time, you have not transferred your status from high school or any other place where you were more recently an F1 student, okay? So if you're coming for the very first time, never held an I-20 before, entering an initial status, please realize you are restricted to entering only 30 days before the I-20 program start date. So just realize there is a limit to how far in advance you can come into the US, if this is your situation. You do have to have, of course, a valid passport, and it should be valid for at least 6 months beyond your period of stay, which would be, the 4 years of your degree. unless your country is an exempt by the country-specific requirement. So there are some countries that don't have this 6-month future validity restriction, and you can go to that website using the link. You would need that I-20 from Richmond. So even if you're a citizen of Canada or Bermuda and you don't need the visa stamp, again, you still need the I-20 from Richmond. F1 visa stamp, unless you're exempt from that requirement. We recommend that you carry proof of your student status. So that could be your admission letter, your scholarship letter, your class schedule for the fall, your payment of fees for the fall. I mean, you don't need to bring all of those documents. I would just bring one. There are no COVID-19 testing or vaccination requirements for anything. If you do have your vaccination card, usually it's a yellow card, or for COVID, it would be that white card. I would recommend bringing it just to have as part of your documents in case you need to see a doctor in the US, and that's, you want to keep that as part of your medical history, but just be aware that you don't need it to present it for admission to the US. And finally, we have a link about knowing your rights when you're traveling internationally. We know that for some students, this is a time of increased concern with international travel because of increased scrutiny on international student visa holders. And so this link will take you to a page where you can read about your rights at the airport, knowing what to expect at the airport in terms of searches of your person or electronic searches of your devices and how you can prepare for that. Okay, so that was traveling to the US. So once you get to the US, of course, you have to travel to campus. So we would recommend that if you haven't already, please set up a Richmond email account, because all kinds of people, Jason's office, our office, will be sending you emails about arrival and move-in procedures to campus. And we're going to be sending that to your Richmond email. So you need to have a Richmond email. And, we just ask that you check your Richmond email on a regular basis, even over the summer. If you are attending international orientation, you'll want to check International Education's arrival information webpage. We will update that with any of the arrival information that is specific to international orientation. Please realize that if you arrive in the US before your move-in date to campus, you'll need to make your own arrangements to stay off campus, and that would be at your own expense. And we have a link to several hotels that are very close to campus, and some of them provide a hotel shuttle to campus. In the unfortunate case that your arrival to campus is delayed and you're going to miss all or part of your orientation program, we just ask that you let somebody know. So please contact the orientation staff for that program to let us know your plans for arrival. And if your arrival to campus is so delayed that you're actually going to start missing classes, we ask that you contact our office and your college dean about that. So your college dean can contact your professors on your behalf to let them know about your delay and the fact that you might have to miss some classes. Okay, so we have what is called an International Student and Scholar Requirement. So it's a set of forms and instructions that we need all new incoming students to complete, with important information that our office uses for planning and for our immigration records. So it's divided into 2 stages. So pre-arrival, in June, we will email all of the new incoming students about how to complete this international student and scholar requirement. So we'll have login instructions, and we'll have a list of forms that we will need you to complete by August 1st. So you'll have about 2 months to complete all of these requirements, which should be plenty of time. And then we have what is called post-arrival. So after you arrive to campus, we're going to ask you to complete additional forms, mostly for immigration purposes and contact information by August 29th. So that would be by the end of that first week of class. So that should give you about 2 weeks to complete the post-arrival requirements, which again should be plenty of time. The reason we ask you to do this is because once you arrive on a student visa, there's certain reporting and registration requirements that our office has to do to indicate that you've arrived and that you're in status. And we can't do that without getting certain information from you, especially, your contact information once you're in the US. So we just ask that you really pay attention, complete those forms by August 29th, because if we can't register your record as active with Homeland Security, then your record is in danger of being terminated, which is not what anybody wants. So please do read those instructions carefully when you get them about completing this requirement, and please complete them by the deadlines. All right, so orientation. So international orientation will be held from Sunday, August 17th through midday on Wednesday, August 20th. It's required only for new international students who have never been in the US on a student visa, except for those students who have applied and are choosing to participate in Endeavor. And we have coordinated our scheduling with the Endeavor program so that international students who are participating in Endeavor can also attend important sessions and some social events with international orientation. So you're not missing out on the chance to meet other international students and attend information sessions that you need. And we do have those info sessions on cultural and academic adjustment, US law, student visas, health insurance, in addition to community building social events just for international students. We have a international orientation website, and we hope to have a draft of our international orientation schedule sometime in June. And then after Endeavor and international orientation from the 17th to the 20th, you will go on to participate in New Spider orientation from Wednesday the 20th through Saturday the 23rd. And so that would be for all the newly admitted students in the class of 2029. And just to give you an idea of our campus programming, these are resources specifically for international students. So we have an international education newsletter that our international student fellow will be sending every 2 weeks. So it'll have stories, articles, events, and resources about Richmond and campus that are of interest specifically for international students. We also hold a welcome reception at the start of the year for new international students to meet each other. Throughout the year, we have international education teas, open houses, and other social gatherings. Again, just for international students, usually we have them in the International Center. We recognize that sometimes international students can't go home over campus breaks. And so we have programming during all of our breaks, including summer. It's game days or other sort of informal social events. And we do sponsor a Black Friday shopping trip during Thanksgiving to the outlet malls about an hour away from campus, if students are staying over Thanksgiving, which is a big American holiday. We have students who host dining hall dinners throughout the year. So it's just, again, a chance for international students to meet each other over a meal in the dining hall. We have international club events. So International Club is one of the student organizations on campus, and it's really for anybody who is interested in international events and programs. And so if you are part of that club, or even if you're not, they sponsor cultural fairs once a year and other events such as meet and greets with international faculty. And then we do have international student career programming where we feature international student alumni who talk about their experience navigating the job search on a student visa. And then we have several ways to stay involved and find out about events that our office sponsors. So we encourage you to, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, read the newsletter, check out our website. And that's it. So now I guess we can take questions. And I see that someone is asking a question about whether they can get the MMR, measles, mumps, rubella vaccine after arriving in the US. And is it covered by insurance? So that would be a question for the Student Health Center. But Diana, did you want to address this?
Sure. As part of your onboarding items that you need to complete before you come here, you do need to complete a list of your health history form and immunizations with the Student Health Center. What they'll do is they'll review all the information that you submitted and will let you know what is missing. And so you'll have an appointment. If you're participating in international orientation, we'll help make an appointment during orientation for you. If you're not participating in international orientation, you'll have the opportunity to schedule an appointment during the first week of classes to go over your missing immunization requirements with the Student Health Center, and they can help you find out if that's something that you can take on campus, or they will provide you with instructions on how to get the vaccine off campus.
What other questions do we have?
Any other questions? We can also answer sort of more practical logistical questions. You want to know about shopping, what to buy, what's available for your room to get set up, those kinds of things. Okay, so what representatives will meet international students at the airport? Okay, that's a great question. So we will have staff, international orientation staff and student leaders to meet and greet students at the airport all day and into the evening and at night, but only on that arrival day of Sunday, August 17th. So somebody will be there. Don't worry. Okay, when should you receive your I-20? So that I would need to refer you to our colleagues in international admissions. You've probably been in touch with Mr. Ben Bentley. But yeah, I would communicate with international admissions for questions about your I-20. Okay, can we send stuff to campus before we arrive? Is there storage for that? Can someone answer that question? Because I'm not sure actually.
If you email international@richmond.edu, I can send you the link to information about that. Um, I believe you can only send things to campus as early as 1 week before you arrive, or is it 7 to 10 days? I have to double check. So I will send you the link to that if you email international@richmond.edu. But once you are assigned housing on campus, if you log into bannerweb.richmond.edu, you'll be provided with your UR mailing address. And so once you have your UR mailing address, you can purchase things ahead of time if you would like and have it sent, but no earlier than a week before your arrival to campus.
All right. Is it recommended to arrive at Richmond International Airport, or is it possible to arrive in Washington, D.C. and take a bus? Yes, it's possible to arrive in DC and take a bus to Richmond, but I really strongly advise you to book your travel so that the final destination is Richmond International Airport. Um, Dulles International Airport in the Washington, D.C. area, that's depending on traffic, about a 3.5 hour drive. And I know it looks pretty close on a map of the US, but it's actually quite far in terms of having to get from one of the Washington area airports to Richmond. So, I always tell students that Richmond International should be your final destination. So the airport code is RIC. And trust me, especially after a long flight, even if it's a little bit more expensive, you want to fly into Richmond Airport. Okay. When will you be able to register for housing? Should we do anything to prepare, like setting up a profile now until registration opens? Can one of my other colleagues answer that? I'm not sure.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
I'm going to insert this link into the chat really quickly while you're answering that credit card. While you were reading it, I was looking online to see if I could find any information. Just so the other viewers of the webinar know, the housing application, you do have to set up an account or a, excuse me, what is it called? There's a portal that you will use in order to access or apply for your housing. I don't believe that information has been sent out yet, but our friends in Residence Life and Housing should be sending an email out to all of our admitted incoming students to inform them about what that process looks like, as well as a timeline for when things need to be completed. Jessica, I'm going to put this answer right here. That is the link to Residence Life and Housing that explains the process for incoming students, new and incoming students who are joining campus for the first time. They'll give you some more information about what that process will look like.
Any other questions? I know a lot of
There we
folks are
go.
thinking about arrival and how to get to campus. Happy to answer that now or later.
We've got one right here that says, what things are essential to bring to campus? Diana, I believe you're going to answer that one.
Okay, let's see. There's a question about a connecting flight from Washington to Richmond. Yes, okay, and where you go through customs, right? So you're going to go through customs in the first port of arrival to the US. So the very first place you're arriving to the US on the flight is in Washington, then that's where you're going to go through customs and immigration. Okay. This is a question from a parent about accompanying her daughter to the US. So yes, if you would like to travel with your child to the US to attend the orientation program, that's fine. International orientation does not have specific programming for international parents, but New Spider orientation does have a parents programming. Is that right, Jason?
Yes, that is correct. We will have an entire, I mean, 1, 2, 3 sessions in the morning of that first day of orientation that is specifically for families and for supporters.
Yep. And so there's also a question about getting invitation letters to travel to the US. Now, we can provide an invitation letter, but just realize that the Department of State says on their website that these invitations letters are not needed. What's more important to qualify for a visitor's visa to the US is one, that you're coming here just for the purposes of being a tourist visitor, and two, that when you are ready to return home, you're done visiting the US, done being a tourist, traveling around, what have you, that you are intending to return to your home country. So those two things, that you're coming for the purpose you say you are and that you intend to return when you're done, um, those are much more important than having an invitation letter for your tourist visa application. But if you need one because your specific US consulate or embassy says that you need one, we're happy to provide that. You're welcome to email us or email our general mailbox, international@richmond.edu, with that request. Okay, and then let's see, there's a question about move-in. So should international students move in on August 17th, or only the students taking part in the pre-orientation? Right. So if you are coming for international orientation, you would be able to move in on August 17th. If you are not coming for international orientation, then you would need to arrive on that Wednesday, August 20th, to participate in New Spider orientation. So some of you international students, you may have been in the US for high school, and maybe you feel like you don't want or need to participate in international orientation, which is fine, but then you wouldn't be able to move in on Sunday the 17th. You would only be able to move in on Wednesday the 20th.
We have a few more minutes scheduled in our time together today. Are there any last minute questions or anything else that we would like to ask our friends in this space?
Okay, yeah, I knew somebody had questions about shopping. Okay. Should I get appliances in the US after arrival? Yes. You're probably aware that you are limited by your airline to usually 2 large luggages, and if it's over a certain weight, you're going to have to pay extra and those kinds of things. If you have questions about the luggage limitation, you should check with your airline. But yeah, you don't want to be bringing appliances like that, when you're traveling internationally. So, oh, sorry,
I
go
just
ahead.
also want to suggest that you should also wait until you have been paired with your roommate so that way you can coordinate. Maybe one of you guys can buy a refrigerator and the other one can buy a microwave so you won't have to purchase both. And that way, since you're living in a shared space, you'll be able to kind of share your appliances.
Yep. So, yeah, I think that anything like that, you can just wait until after you get here. We'll have plenty of shopping trips during international orientation, and you'll have some time during the week to go shopping. Okay, should you apply for international orientation? So it depends on who you are and what your needs are. So, if you feel like, uh, well, so first of all, like I said before, if you have never been to the US on a student visa, you're going to have to attend international orientation unless you're opting into Endeavor. Okay, so that's one thing. So if that's your situation, the decision has been made for you. If you're not in that situation, so if you're one of these students who, has been here for high school as an international student, um, if you really feel like you need that international student specific community and info sessions, then yes, I would encourage you to apply for international orientation. If you feel like maybe that's not as important to you because you've been living in the US for a few years, then you can opt out and just attend New Spider orientation. So it's up to you if you're in that situation. If you're not in that situation, you're attending international orientation unless you're in Endeavor. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, another question about appliances available in the dorm room and how can you find information about that? So, one of the many things you will be doing over the summer for our international student and scholar requirement is taking our online orientation. And there's a module that is specifically about what to buy, what to bring, and what to borrow. So when you're looking at that orientation module, there's going to be a link to things that come with your dorm room. So really pay attention to that link because it's on the housing website as well. But yeah, there's a list of things that will already be in your room or that you can request for your room. Let's see. Okay, international students. Okay, is it correct that international students will be charged with health insurance with our tuition fee? Okay, so the health insurance fee is separate from the tuition fee. It's not part of the tuition fee. So the answer is yes, you will be charged and automatically enrolled and billed by our office for health insurance. But again, that is a separate fee from tuition. And if you have any questions or you want to view the fees or view whether you've been charged, I believe you can do that in your banner web. Okay. Want to ask when should I arrive if I engage with Endeavor?
So that date's going to be this. All of our pre-orientation programming starts on the same day. So just as our international orientation friends will be starting on August 17th, are moving in on August 17th, so will our Endeavor friends. So that August 17th date is anyone who is participating in a pre-orientation program. And as Krittika shared earlier, that program will go from August 17th, that move-in date, until August 20th. And then August 20th will be when the remaining of our incoming students move in. And then that will begin our new student orientation processes. So if you're doing Endeavor, still move in on the August 17th date, and you will receive some communication for that throughout the summer as well.
Okay, someone's asking about working on campus. So can international students work on campus? Are you going to have some guidance about that before arriving to campus? So the answer is yes and yes. You can work on campus. That's sort of an automatic benefit of your student visa. And in this online orientation that I just mentioned, there's a whole module dedicated to employment for international students. So I would read that very carefully.
We are unfortunately at the end of our scheduled time together. If you have any remaining questions, you can reach out to I believe it's the General International Education inbox. Do we have that somewhere that we can type for people who are attending? If not, it's very easy to access the email on the website. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We can't wait for you to come in the fall, and we were just really excited to have you all. Hope you have a great remainder of your time and whatever time you're joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you so soon. Thank you, everyone.